we should be comfortable with being strangers.
Yes,
Like, why are we trying so hard to fit in?
we're creating a vicious cycle if the only content that does really well, that explodes from our community, is actually aesthetics content. Because again, we are so much more than that. Shout out to all my sisters helping us with the aesthetics.
1, 2, ready, go. Unveiled voices. We're looking at that.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Unveiled Voices. I'm Anifa and I have here with me
Mariam.
Yay! So today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. But before we go into that, how you doing, Mariam?
I'm cold.
You're cold, yeah.
It's 1 degree in the UK. Yeah, so it's really cold. These are just one of the times when they always say in hindsight, like, you don't appreciate what you have until you probably lose it.
What did you have?
I had good weather in Nigeria. So like, yeah, so I've lived in like 2 different places since I left Nigeria, and I can tell you, and I've also been to like a couple of places, and I can tell you, I think Nigeria is one of the countries that is blessed
Favored
with like
with really good
good weather all year round.
Yeah.
So yeah, but alhamdulillah, ahead of next winter, I want to already put myself in the
Winter
mode.
state of
Yeah.
mind.
I've actually even been seeing Islamic books on how like approaching winter is definitely an harsh condition, but you can make the best use out of it.
I've never actually thought about like Islamic perspective of it. One thing I know is that because the prayer times are so close together, you can sort of like, I don't want to put it in a bad
do your prayers,
and then you can still do things like maybe going out to see a movie, go to the theater without having to worry about I have to look for where to make my salah.
Exactly.
So again, even things like paying back fasting. So for example, I paid my Miss Ramadan fast back in this time, so it was really good. So I think tough, but there are definitely like some acts of ibadah that it makes like easier
to take out of it. Yeah. And also this morning when I was going to work, I saw an Instagram post where the person said you can have your summer all year round. So for instance, it's cold in the UK, you can jet out. So
you only need to be
you only need to be rich. Yeah, you only need your money. So I think that's a good mantra to have.
Okay. more motivation to step out cookies up. Okay, cool. Yeah, so what's one thing, the new thing that you learned this week?
New thing that I learned this week. Maybe you go first. I'm trying to. I know I had an answer.
Yeah,
not just
you cooked up an answer. Now you don't
cooked. Actually, no. When we discussed this, I made a conscious effort to
pay attention to things.
Yeah, and I know I had an answer, but yeah, maybe you go first.
Well, in the spirit of keeping it fun, I found out through research, it wasn't random, that you cannot actually hum if you hold your nostrils. So,
okay, because there's
you're basically blocking the airflow. So I thought about what I would bring to this. Like I was thinking, it has to be something serious, something deep. But then the mischief maker in me decided to share this one.
Yeah. One thing that I'm now starting to get fascinated about is Islamic history, and like we usually of how like there was that huge Muslim dominance. Like there was once upon a time where there was that like Muslims literally probably ruled the world. We had
golden age,
and all of that. Exactly. So it would be interesting to read history and understand what went wrong. Like how did we lose talk? But how did they because like for instance how my pa has like Muslim. And I've also had a house.
I think Spain as it's quite close to Morocco.
Exactly.
Africa, which kind of explains it geographically. But I can echo you.
So it's been interesting to see.
Maybe next time on that segment we'll actually come back and give you
what we've found out.
Actual things. Cool. So to our actual topic of today, what we're going to be discussing is a favorite one.
Is it?
Representation. Over the years, it's like immense different things, right? So I can remember vividly, there was a time, even you and I have talked about it, where in our society, in media, we couldn't really see ourselves, right? Visibly Muslim women navigating
career space,
navigating
life.
family life. And then it got to a point where suddenly, we became like noticed, like people started to actually put Muslim women in media.
Yeah.
And what was the dominant representation at the time? So I don't think there was a lot in like Nigerian or Nollywood media.
No.
Maybe
Northern
some
movies, Arawa
yeah,
movies.
which I can't speak too much about because I didn't really watch.
Yeah.
But I know maybe there were like some mentions of Eleha. Eleha is supposed to be
The
Niqabi that cover like most of the face. And the connotation would be something around getting married to a cleric. It was usually some negative connotation.
Yeah.
So that's the Nigerian angle. In terms of the Western world, what was popular?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
What was it?
So it's like you would have a Muslim girl who is like literally trying to break free from family.
I actually have beef with that. Like
that narrative.
Far back, I always wondered why. Look, I'm not saying like they're not people that were kind of maybe forced to put the hijab on, or maybe they were struggling. Exactly, it wasn't from them. But my gripe is, why was that the only
representation? I think that was like the dominant representation, because we had like movies, series,
a lot
that was literally like around the same storyline. So you literally start probably episode 1 with when she gets to school, she removes her hijab. Then when she gets back home, she puts the hijab back on, and then when you get to probably episode 10, she drastically takes the hijab
and let me tell you, there's always a love interest.
Yes, that is a
who is usually non-Muslim, who is usually from a completely probably ethnic and racial background, and then they are like the savior.
There's actually a book that I read that was similar theme.
Yeah,
I kind of didn't like the way the
what was the book called?
Muslim Girl. I think Zakaria, I'll find, but it was kind of like similar route. So well, ours wasn't like she decided to take it off. It was like by accident. So her first day in school, someone spilled something on her hijab, and she went to the restroom to wash it off. But in the hurry of the bell rang and all that, she went out and she forgot, and then she
have you actually ever walked out like?
No.
No. It almost happened to me.
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
And she went with that, so she found herself living that double life and all of that. And it went on for, when a life goes on for a very long time. But it kind of ended with understand, like, I get the way it ended, but I just felt like, why make the storyline something like that? But but you're very right on, like, the representation in media is either about a narrative of oppressed Muslim woman or somebody trying to like break free or like go against our societal norms and all of that, which is not what a Muslim woman is.
At least like in the spirit of saying we're not a monolith, right? Maybe there'll be some people that do feel that way.
Definitely.
I will say that over the years I've come to see that the media is not actually balanced. Like there's usually some narrative, some propaganda, there's some agenda at every different point in time.
Everybody's trying
to push. So I just knew it felt odd that I never really saw, the story of a girl discovering the hijab, like, I'm actually trying it on, progressing and becoming, better in their faith. The other thing I was going to touch on. So we've talked about like Nigerian media, no matter how small it was. We've talked about Western media. In terms of social media, this social media is interesting because unlike the traditional media where the movie is coming from a film studio, they're putting in money, they want to make money, blah blah blah. It's like media for the people, by the people. So what's your vibe of like social?
We've said it before on the podcast, the Dear 16-year-old me. Like Instagram started, like when Instagram kicked off and we had like this old hijabi influencers coming up. I think it was good at the time to have that movement, because we had like people wearing the hijab, and it was also good for like younger girls to see, or like sort of like wearing the hijab is cool. Like just because you're wearing the hijab doesn't mean you can't fit into society, or you can't fit into like you can't fit in basically. So I think it was good for that movement. But over the years, I feel we've just gotten comfortable with that Muslim girl aesthetic. And it's all about probably like
Looks,
yeah, just
makeup,
I don't know.
hijab styles.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, yeah, get ready with me. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to now start moving towards the conversation of what the holistic view of what being a Muslim woman is. Being a Muslim woman, yes, about your, like, you have ayah, you have modesty, you have your faith, you have your family, you have lifestyle, you have baraka living. Like, there is so much more to being a Muslim woman, and I feel we are getting into that trap of somebody just starting to come into the folds of Islam is just admiring that from the point of, oh, being a Muslim woman is clean, like you have the aesthetic Muslim.
So I'm diving into the symptoms, the manifestation already. Like, so to summarize, like social media, we are in between, we're in this like world where, you know, the mainstream media has the saved Muslim girl trope. The social media has
clean girl
content, but majorly Muslima aesthetic, you know, looks and everything. So if between these two, we're heavily pushing either being saved or beauty and fashion, actually younger Muslim girls might get the idea that you can only be one or the other.
Yeah.
Right? So it's either you go out of the fold of Islam, or you are the cool, the hippie, the clean girl aesthetic, clean Muslim, whatever the type. And I don't know about everyone else, but I think that's just not representative of real world, you know.
Yeah, that's not even what being a Muslim woman entails, right? I mean, being a Muslim woman, you have like role models like Khadija, like she was a businesswoman, she was running business empires, like
and by the way, like just a disclaimer before, because I know social media people like to take things out of context. Like, we're not demonizing
for sure,
know, you looking good, dressing well, presenting well as a Muslim woman. But
what you're saying is one out of many.
Exactly. And so if you love fashion, if you love all these things,
like we definitely love to clean up nice.
Exactly. We just want to expand the conversation and say things like, you know, why is that the dominant representation? And more importantly, how can we make space for other narrative?
Yeah.
Before we go into what the other narratives are, I want us to dive in a bit more on why we think the West actually pushes that saved Muslim woman trope.
If you look at Islam generally, you will always have that two ends of the spectrum. So you would have people that are just like at the bare minimum, and then you have people on the extreme end of like of it all, even going over and beyond, like on even innovations, like things that are not even legislated and are not asked of us by Almighty Allah. But I've heard the phrase Islam is moderation. Everything you need to do has been ordained by your God. So based on that, and because you have that set of people that have taken things to the extreme. So, for instance, we talked about the Quranic verse where people have taken the
it as a
men are the protectors of women, like they've literally taken it out of proportion. So you have people like that pushing that extreme narrative. So
what you're saying basically is that
the West, or like the media, is basically coming in as
the most extreme narration
I'm the hero that I'm coming
radical
to save
version,
to save you from this radical
views. Using that to basically paint the brush that everyone is like that. I see. So
yeah,
I think that's interesting. What I'm going to say about this is that Islam as a religion is unlike maybe every other religion. It's more like a way of life, right?
It's definitely a way of life, yeah.
We have rules about what we can eat. We have rules about how to dress. By the way, not just women, men and women.
Yeah.
So I see our brothers sometimes too. They are not covering up their aura, but no one is
pushing them.
Remember. So point being that there's very detailed guidance on how to live your life. And I think sometimes that is not it's very different to how things in the West are. So I know West pushes things like individualism, freedom at the detriment of the collective, individualism over me, what makes me happy. And there's almost sometimes no room for like, how about you subscribe to like a higher code of life? So I think that combines with what you were saying about like the extreme view of things. So it's that people see it as, oh, there are just so many rules. Why does it have so many rules? It's not compatible with like Western ideology. So it must be wrong. And so they must be saved.
If you look at all these societies where you have this extreme view, most of them are looking at it from a point of, we're just trying to govern, but you're just trying to legislate,
but in doing that,
exactly,
also push
exactly.
So now we can move to the next thing, which is the aesthetics. So why do you think this is what we see dominantly on social media?
It's a bit of where we're also trying to make a world of our own, and we feel in order to make that world of our own, we need to do some certain things, probably more, to make us feel seen. So you have things like, again, like I said, it's not like we are like saying, oh, this should not be at all. It's I mean, it's not like we are saying no to clean girl sex and all of that. But like it was, and again, even if you look at like how it started, it was very instrumental to
actually
people,
propagate.
like for instance, I know one of the early struggles, especially for Africans, that we have type, is it 4C? Like there are some days when you just have like bad hair day, and
oh my God,
imagine
I've always hated
imagine putting your hijab on and your hair is just so like. So
puffy.
When people came up with hijab styles and all of that, okay, yes, so it kind of helped to, if I'm having this is how I can do my hijab.
So basically, historically,
it
was good for us.
But it's just now that we see that this is like the dominant narrative that keeps getting pushed. You would see, like every hijabi influencer is basically following that line. It's either it's about makeup, it's either it's about hijab styles. Which, I mean, if it's your choice of content, that's fine. But I just feel like we need to start having these kind of conversations, and for us to realize that being a Muslim woman is that's just like one out of
So I will say that I think generally, and you and I can attest to this, like visual content just does better than
for sure.
Because when we were like doing audio, the numbers were way different. The first video was like boom, and then we're like, we absolutely have to do this. If in fact I was listening to someone else who has like a podcast, and he was basically talking about how his partner, who they do the podcast together, had been telling him back before it became popular for podcasts to be on YouTube, that they start doing visual content. And he was like, nah, please, there's serious content. We don't need that. And then he was like, seeing other people kind of, Anyway, so visual content, very good, does really well. There's also a debate where it allows Muslim women to kind of express themselves without like necessarily stepping outside of the boundaries, which is fine. But at the same time, like you said, for every one non-visual, non-aesthetic, not get ready with me, non-makeup content I see probably like tens or 20s of the other type of content. Exactly. So what are actually the outward problems or manifestations with this? I have one. So I've seen Muslim influencers or Muslima influencers even go as far as sometimes using like not very nice music in promoting the content. And I'll tell you how that happens. It's because so usually there's a trending sound everyone is using,
which should help boost your algorithm.
So they also want to do that, and when they use it, sometimes they just use it with the full explicit lyrics. By the way, we're not even going to go into the different school of thoughts regarding music and all, but we'll both agree that like there's some music that just point blank has way too that should not be what someone who is Muslim, who presents outwardly as a Muslim, who is a role model. And I know people love to say this thing of, yeah, nobody should take me as a role model. But guess what? No, you're responsible.
Yeah,
because you put content out there. And it's something I even think about with this content. And I take it seriously because Allah's going to ask us.
For sure.
Everyone else can say I'm not a role model, but as a Muslim, you are putting content out there, content that potentially will be viewed after you have left this earth, and you are helping them to say no role model. May Allah make it easy.
So every opportunity should be an opportunity for us to admonish ourselves.
Yeah.
Because
enjoying
good.
Shout out to Amina.
Forbidding bad. Like it doesn't mean like you and I are the most perfect person.
Absolutely not.
We definitely have our own faults. We are striving, but we just because you are not perfect does not mean you should not acknowledge what the truth is, and we all know the truth. Unless we just try, we want to open our eyes.
Talking about it again, what I see is depending on your personality as a Muslim woman, that you might gravitate towards doing some more things than others. And there's this lady, I think her name is EP, and she had a video that the title was "Where Your Fear Is, Your Task Is." You're an extrovert, you have a tendency to do too much. Going outside of the folds of Islam to prove to yourself that, oh, you're cool. Remind yourself, of your Lord and Creator and the religion you've chosen to follow, and try as much as possible to live towards it. You're an introvert, your struggle is you're a bit more disconnected from people, maybe. And so you need to put your effort where you're not so strong. Anyway, one last thing I would say, I don't know if you, especially related to this or content, I think younger Muslim girls also see this, younger Muslim men also see this, and we're creating a vicious cycle if the only content that does really well, that explodes from our community is actually aesthetics content. Because again, we are so much more than that. Shout out to all my sisters helping us with the aesthetics.
Because everybody wants to have the next viral video and all of that. That kind of make people fall into like things they normally would not do, but it's just one video. But that just one video.
Slippery slope.
You could get 2.5 million views. That's 2.5. Do you know how many people 2.5 million are?
There's some countries don't even have that much
exactly. So I think what I would just say is let's constantly know that whatever it is we are putting out there,
we are responsible
for it. We should all strive to do better, for sure.
Cool. Even us, by the way. One other thing, obviously, so this podcast is not a podcast of, we just talk about problems and moan and so What content do you actually want to see more from Muslim women?
One would be even understanding what it means to be a Muslim woman.
The deen.
The deen, lifestyle, living
day to day.
I think, and maybe talking from me as well, like, or how I see how I've been over the years. Okay, for someone that grew up in a Muslim you are by birth sort of assigned as a Muslim. So
discovering.
So how do you for yourself discover what it takes to be a Muslim? I think there's that rite of passage everybody has to go through. Especially people that were born as Muslim. Probably people that reverted would have it easier because obviously for you to even revert in the first place, you must have
easier.
No, like you must have found that conviction for you to abbreviated in the first place.
More like you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there are some people that
they are actually driven.
Yeah, exactly. They were actually driven for them to have made that decision. So I think everybody needs to go through that rite of passage of understanding what it is to be a Muslim. And again, to your point on like the vicious circle, that's why we have society today where some women don't even know their rights because they didn't grow up
being scammed.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't grow up with seeing representation or seeing.
Do you know what? I would love to see more content around.
Right, as a wife.
Don't be doing corner.
Yeah,
talk it straight.
Yeah, you'd go on Twitter sometimes and you'd see conversations about if you collect small mark, that's the smaller your mark, the bigger your reward. And I'm like yeah. So like you said, like women being quote unquote scammed because they did not know, or you find even most of the people that are pushing out this information to be people that have more to benefit from it. Yeah. So I
fair enough.
Exactly.
No shade.
So I think first and foremost would be for us to understand what being a Muslim woman is, and it comes from seeking knowledge.
Yeah.
God has even already told us to go and seek knowledge. So it's just us that we are being. We're just being stubborn. So yeah, we definitely need to seek knowledge, and then there should also be the bit of where for every content you put out, if you are doing it from a point of I want to put this out as a Muslim woman, I think you should always have that underlying subtext of what benefits with this should this have to the woman.
At the end of the day,
I was looking for lemon cake recipes on TikTok, and I found this person in fact that's the only lemon cake recipe. In fact, that's the first time I've made cake by myself and it came out like really nice with just
I think you get
exactly.
It was really nice.
And I found she used Quran, like it was literally Quran recitation. She didn't use music or whatever. It was Quran,
but you got what you
and
it
was so when
I'm sure that video there will even be non-Muslims that watch it and benefit
exactly. My point is when I was making that cake, because I needed to check the recipe and the steps, so it kept playing the Quran recitation in loop. And it just got to a point. I was just like, wow, like this person is actually just because I kept playing it to look because put one teaspoon or whatever. I was doing my lemon cake and I was listening to it. So yeah, I think we should always have that underlying subtext. Yeah. Again, I guess everybody is struggling. Trust me, I have my own share of struggles. But yeah, like I think ultimately, let's know that everything we do, we should do for the sake of Allah.
Yep.
It's going to act us.
Okay. So my own view of this is that in between the fashion halls, the aesthetic content, the Muslim women saved, everything, there is a middle ground.
Yep.
So I want to see you guys do fun stuff. So if you're traveling, if you're learning how to ski, put it. If you really want to do content, put it out there. Let me see that I can learn how to ski.
Yeah,
I can ski well.
I mean, I know I've mentioned. Sorry, because I know I've mentioned to everybody that I know about Sabia. With Soul Unraveled. I particularly love our growth over the years. They recently went for an Umrah retreat. Like Umrah retreats, they like group of women, they travel together to go to Umrah together.
Okay.
And it basically started from our just building community of Muslim women. So they do
do you think if we invite her to this podcast, she wants to
I'm using this opportunity to sit. No, I mean, I personally DM her and she responds to my DM.
Okay.
So
you're such a fan girl. Oh my God!
Like you and I like what you're doing. Trust me, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to tell you thumbs up. Yeah. So, but shout out to Sabia. I mean, and if you're not following, go and follow.
Are you
But yeah. So
anyway, as I was saying, like me, I want to see you guys do fun stuff. I want to see you talk about your businesses because that's actually one of the key uses of social. Like we've seen things go viral where people end up selling millions of stuff based on it. In terms of like content, I like. Again, I've talked about EPR. I think at the moment when I'm feeling disconnected. She just drops a video and it's like just like she's the only one talking and the camera simple, like most times she even wears the same hijab. Like I've also seen Muslim women again use their social media to, promote their businesses and
we need more women in business.
Exactly. Guys, don't you want to make money?
We need more.
Exactly.
Actually, even share to me and you.
No share because we are actually thinking that.
Yeah, exactly. So we definitely need more women in business.
Yeah, even navigating mother. Well, I think we already have some really good podcasts for that. I can't remember, but I can also link that one. Starting a business, charity, anything you are doing, that is actually day to day. Yeah. The grind, the good, the bad. Yeah. Within the folds of Islam, please share it with us. And I think lastly, content that calls us back to Allah, because it's a tough world though. Like it's very, I think for us in the West, or our test is not usually, oh, I'm hungry. Yep. It's not, oh, I don't have money. It's, yeah, you have a lot of money.
What are you doing with it? Yeah, you're still within the.
You have a lot of knowledge. Have you become arrogant? Things like that. So, please, more content that calls us back to Allah. Not chasing trends, not trying to fit in. Islam started as something really strange, and yeah, we should be comfortable with being strangers. Yeah. Everything we do is for Allah. So, what's your takeaway from today?
I actually like that last point you just made. Yeah, like we should be comfortable with being strangers. Yes. Why are we trying so hard to fit into a world? Yeah, we should be comfortable with being strangers.
Yeah. So takeaway: representation matters. Yeah. But as Muslim women, please let's make space for all of the different ways we show up without going outside of the bounds of Islam. And again, this is not about being perfect. It's a day-to-day. Make a conscious decision to remind yourself anytime you want to put something out there, anytime you want to watch something, is this compatible with my way of life, which is Islam? And, let's encourage one another and enjoying good.
Actually, from the last point you made, just to top it up, I mean, go with your tribe. Like, go and grow with
your tribe. Tight.
Yeah, right.
No lose God.
Birds of the same feather flock together. It makes sense for you to have, like, group of friends that you have the same goal, because days when you are falling short, you have somebody that would always, like, pick you up, say, yeah. So yeah, like, go and grow with your tribe.
Yeah. Sure. Let's be intentional. At the same time, enjoy life. Yeah. You can even be all these so-called skin beauty influencers, but make sure that you're not doing things that then take you out of the fold of Islam. Yeah. So last call to action. What are we consuming?
Yes.
What are we creating? Anything else for me?
Seek knowledge.
Seek knowledge.
Oh my God.
Mine is like
so much. No, there's so much. If I could go back in time, there are just so many things I would like start early for sure. Yeah. So it's not too late. Yeah. But yeah, like
never too late. Yeah. Like, so day to day, think about ways you can learn something.
And be careful of knowledge. Yeah, also like because especially in this world and time where there's just a lot.
Someone wants to scam.
Yeah, exactly.
If it doesn't sound right.
Yeah. It's probably not. So yeah.
So yeah, we would love to hear from you, our listeners. Share your thoughts.
What do you think about this whole Muslim girl?
Or do you think we're backing up the wrong tree? Yes. Do you think there's more than enough diverse content? Share with us. Maybe we're not. Our feed is
it's not
exactly. Yeah. Share this content with anyone you think would benefit from it, and yeah. Till next time.
Hey, come your way. Assalamu alaikum.